On a dark winter night in 1974, a passenger plane disappeared from the sky without an explosion, without a warning, without a chance to escape. There was no dramatic mayday call, no final message that could change fate, just a routine descent and a mistake hidden in the darkness. What happened next would expose a deadly flaw in aviation and quietly change the way the world flies forever. This is the forgotten story of TWA Flight 514. December 1st, 1974. TWA Flight 514 prepares for takeoff from Indianapolis International Airport. Its destination is Washington National Airport, a short evening flight that thousands have taken before. On board are 92 passengers and crew. Some are returning home. Others are traveling for work or visiting family. For them, this flight is nothing more than a small moment in an ordinary day. The aircraft is a Boeing 727, one of the most trusted jets of its time. The captain and crew are experienced, trained, and confident. There is no fear in the cabin. As the plane climbs into the night sky, weather conditions near Washington begin to worsen. Thick clouds cover the region. Rain reduces visibility. Air traffic control decides the flight will not land at its original airport. Instead, TWA Flight 514 is redirected toward Dulles International Airport in Virginia. The decision seems simple. The crew acknowledges the change and prepares for descent. At this moment, everything still appears normal. No alarms, no tensión, no sign that this routine flight is already on a path toward disaster. As TWA Flight 514 turns toward Dulles International Airport, the night outside the cockpit is completely black. Heavy clouds cover the sky. The ground below is invisible. The area around Dulles is dangerous for aircraft. Unlike flat city airports, it is surrounded by hills and mountains. In bad weather, pilots must rely almost entirely on instructions from air traffic control. The controller clears Flight 514 to descend to 7,000 feet. To the crew, the message sounds routine. They believe the descent is safe. But there is a deadly detail no one notices. That clearance was meant to apply after the aircraft passed a specific navigation point. The pilots think they can descend immediately. Below them lies Mount Weather, a solid wall of rock rising silently into the clouds. There are no cockpit warnings, no terrain alert, no voice telling them they're too low. The aircraft continues descending, steady and controlled, flying straight into a mountain the crew never sees. And with every passing second, escape becomes impossible. At 11:10 p.m., the routine descent ends in an instant. TWA Flight 514 strikes the side of Mount Weather at high speed. The impact is violent and unforgiving. The Boeing 727 breaks apart immediately. There is no fireball in the sky, no explosion heard from far away. The mountain absorbs the sound. Inside the cockpit, there is no time to react. No final warning. No last transmission to air traffic control. On radar screens, the aircraft simply disappears. Rescue teams are alerted, but reaching the crash site is difficult. The terrain is steep. The weather is harsh. The night is freezing. When responders finally arrive, they find debris scattered across the mountain. There are no survivors. All 92 passengers and crew are gone. What began as a normal flight has ended in complete silence, leaving behind one haunting question. How can a modern passenger jet fly directly into a mountain without anyone stopping it? By morning, investigators from multiple agencies arrive at Mount Weather. There is no sign of sabotage, no evidence of mechanical failure. The aircraft was functioning normally. The crew was qualified and experienced. So attention turns to the final minutes of the flight. Air traffic control recordings are reviewed again and again. Every word matters. Slowly, a disturbing truth emerges. The controller's descent clearance was technically correct, but dangerously unclear. The instruction depended on the pilots reaching a specific point first. That condition was never clearly stated. The crew believed they were following orders. Air traffic control believed the pilots understood the limits. In reality, both sides were operating under different assumptions. Even worse, the cockpit had no system to warn that the aircraft was flying toward rising terrain. No alarm, no visual alert. The investigation concludes that this crash was caused by controlled flight into terrain, a fully working plane flown into the ground by human misunderstanding. A simple communication error had turned deadly. TWA Flight 514 never made headlines like other crashes. It was quickly overshadowed by more dramatic disasters. Yet its impact on aviation was profound, hidden behind the scenes. The investigation exposed deadly gaps in the system. Air traffic instructions were ambiguous and inconsistent. Pilots had no reliable warnings about terrain and poor visibility. Aviation relied too much on human interpretation rather than technology. As a result, new safety measures were implemented quietly but decisively. Controllers began using standardized, precise language. Pilots were trained to follow strict altitude procedures. And most importantly, technology advanced to create the ground proximity warning system, the device that later saved countless lives by shouting a single command: "Pull up." Because of Flight 514, the skies became safer. Every mountain avoided, every accident prevented. Each warning, sounded in time, is a silent tribute to those 92 lives lost. Though forgotten by the public, TWA Flight 514 changed aviation forever. Its lesson is clear. One small error, one unclear word, can become fatal. And from that tragedy, the world learned to never fly blind again. TWA Flight 514 is a name most people have never heard. There are no movies, no headlines, no lasting fame. Just a cold December night and 92 lives lost in silence. Yet every time a plane avoids a mountain, every time a warning sounds just in time, the shadow of Flight 514 is there. Its tragedy forced change, shaped safety rules, and saved countless lives, all because the mistakes of one night were never repeated. Some disasters are forgotten by the world, but their lessons remain, written forever in the dark. Flight 514 may be forgotten, but the skies remember.